It started like a scene from a teenage rebellion. A girl slips out of her mansion late at night, leaves the gate unlocked, disables the alarm, and climbs into her boyfriend's car parked just down the street. But she wasn't sneaking off to a party. She wasn't running away. She wasn't breaking the rules. She was rewriting them with blood on the blueprint. Waiting inside were her parents, asleep in their bedroom, wrapped in the safety of routine, believing they had raised a daughter who loved them. They had no idea that she had already decided they had to go. No yelling, no last-minute regret, just a quiet nod and the slow closing of a door that would never open again. Welcome to GBR Life Transmissions. I'm your host, Caitlin, and you're listening to GBR Life of Crimes, where we explore not just what happened in crimes committed by women, but why they happened and the psychology behind them. Today, we're discussing the Brazilian heiress who didn't just betray her parents, she orchestrated their murder and then tried to smile through the blood. Suzane Louise von Richthofen was born on November 3, 1983, in São Paulo, Brazil. Born into wealth and privilege, her father, Manfred von Richthofen, was a highly educated engineer and executive at Dersa, a state-owned engineering company. Her mother, Maurice von Richthofen, was a psychiatrist. They were upper middle class, smart, well-structured, at least from what's known. In other words, Richthofen family wasn't struggling. There were no signs of violence, no abuse, no desperation. Manfred and Mauricia were private, quiet, and deeply proud of their children. And they lived in a gated neighborhood lined with trimmed hedges and security cameras. Their daughter, Suzane, was the kind of girl other families pointed to and said, "Why can't you be more like her?" She went to elite private schools, spoke fluent English and German, had a gentle smile, polite in manners, and she was soft-spoken. To everyone on the outside, she was the image of grace, discipline, and privilege. Because for all the privilege, all the structure, all the control, Suzane was starting to feel like a puppet in her own life. Her future had been written for her. A degree in law or medicine, a respectable marriage, a perfect daughter forever. But behind closed doors, she was craving chaos, craving freedom. Not the kind you ask for, the kind you take. And that's when she met him. Daniel. Oil-stained hands, street smart. A guy with motorcycles in his garage and lived with his parents. He was everything her father disapproved of, but that made him more magnetic. Suzane didn't just fall for him, she latched on. She chased the danger. And the more her parents pulled away, the tighter she gripped. Because Daniel wasn't just her boyfriend, he was her escape plan. They were obsessive, texting constantly, sneaking around, and sleeping together under her parents' roof while they were home. This wasn't teen rebellion anymore, it was control. And she was the one in charge. So both of her parents told her to stop seeing him. But see, when that happened, Suzane didn't cry. She didn't scream. She simply got quiet. And that's when the plan began. It was October 31st, 2002, Halloween. The streets were calm. In the Richthofen house, the lights were off because Manfred and Mauricia were already asleep in their second-floor bedroom. Suzane left with Daniel and his brother Christian earlier in that night, but she made sure to turn off the alarm before she left. She left the gate unlocked, and then she told her youngest brother, Andreas, just 15 years old, to sleep at a friend's house. She made sure the house was quiet, empty, and ready. And around 1 a.m., the brothers returned, iron bars in hand, gloves on. Suzane parked around the corner and waited, knowing what was about to happen. Inside, the brothers crept up the stairs. The bedroom door creaked open. Manfred stirred, confused, but there was no time to react. They swung, iron on skull, over and over and over again. Mauricia screamed, but no one came. No neighbors heard, and Suzane didn't stop it. When it was over, they covered the bodies with towels, as if hiding the brutality would make it more acceptable. They took showers, changed clothes, stole cash, and left. Hours later, Suzane came back. She staged a fake break-in, called the police, and cried on cue. Suzane cried in front of reporters. She clutched her brother's hand. She went on TV begging for answers. She played the heartbroken daughter perfectly, but there were cracks in the script. Police noticed that there was no forced entry. The alarm had been deactivated, and she showed little emotion, except when she was asked how long it would take to get access to her father's accounts. She slipped, and when police brought her in for questioning, Suzane folded fast. She confessed, described the plan in chilling detail, and blamed everything on love. She said, "I did it because my father was controlling. I wanted to be with Daniel." But no one believed it was just love. It was entitlement. It was greed. And it was planned down to the minute. Suzane didn't fit the stereotype. She wasn't abused. She wasn't desperate. She wasn't out of control. She was calm, deliberate, emotionally disconnected. Psychologists later said she showed signs of narcissistic personality traits, a belief that she deserved more, that her parents were obstacles, not people. And once they stood in her way, she chose to remove them the same way someone deletes an app or throws away a receipt. This wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This was designed. And when she was arrested, she didn't cry. She just asked how long she'd be locked up. The courtroom was packed, and the press called her the Ice Princess. Others called her the most hated woman in Brazil. She showed up in pastel colors, smiled on camera, and sat next to Daniel like it was a wedding, not a murder trial. And in 2006, Suzane was convicted of double homicide and sentenced to 39 years in prison. Daniel and Christian also convicted. But time changes everything, doesn't it? Because after 13 years in prison, Suzane was released on parole. This was back in 2015, which means for the past 10 years, she has lived under a new name. She runs a business, she gives interviews, and most importantly, she has been walking free. Her parents are still dead, and her brother, Andreas, who lost everything, has spoken openly about the trauma of growing up in the shadow of a sister who destroyed their family. Suzane didn't kill her parents in a moment of rage. She didn't snap. As stated, she plotted this. Then she wore her grief like a costume. She rehearsed her tears. And when it all came crashing down, she looked the world in the face and never flinched until they realized they were going to catch her. We like to believe monsters look like monsters, but sometimes they look like daughters. Sometimes they look like mothers. Sometimes they look like the neighbor next door. Sometimes they even come dressed in school uniforms with soft voices and calm eyes, and a willingness to hand you over to death because they want your money, or your house, or their freedom. So we ask ourselves, is evil always obvious? Or does it wear a daughter's smile and whisper, "It's all for love"? This has been GBR Life of Crimes, part of GBR Life Transmissions. I'm Caitlin, reminding you that understanding the darkness helps us appreciate the light. Join me next time as we uncover another case that challenges everything we thought we knew about the criminal mind.